Regularly scheduled programming will not be seen, so that we may bring you the following special presentation from WVEC-TV. Joe Flanagan's Guide to Camcorders. Or, why was the bride wearing green?
Taking the plunge into the world of home video can be quite a traumatic experience if you're not prepared. Hopefully, you've been a lot more successful than our friend here. Hi, I'm Joe Flanagan. In the next half hour, we're going to take away some of the confusion of camcording at home, in the office, on vacation. You might say Joe's job will be to enlighten and inform you, not through my own genius, but by tapping the expertise of the staff of professional photographers here at WVEC-TV. Tips from the top. I know, it's a scary world out there in video land. 8mm, handy cams, VHS, we'll clear it all up. And we'll start with Chief Photographer Byron Burney when we come back.
2036.
Chief Photographer Byron Burney was born and raised here in Hampton Roads. This year at 13 News, Byron is celebrating 13 years as a videographer, covering everything from Operation Desert Shield to local crime scenes. He takes his job seriously and has earned the respect of many, including G.A. Brown of Crime Line in Portsmouth. Byron was the one I wanted to tell us all about VHS camcorders. Now, I knew he was very busy, but I also knew if I whispered in his ear and promised him a free lunch, he'd follow me anywhere. So after a couple of quick hot dogs, we headed to his office to get down to business. Now, keep these topics in mind as we listen to Byron. How to start, magnetic field, review function, player record, backlight, your manual.
Joe, let's start off with the basics. A lot of people don't even know how to handle a VHS camera. This is kind of like the professional models. You just slide your hand in like so, and you can put it on your shoulder, and you're ready to shoot. But there are a few things you have to do before you actually start shooting.
Yes, like power. How do you power the camera?
Well, on this particular model, the battery goes in the back. You slide it in like so.
Byron demonstrated how you turn the camera on. Press eject to open the tape housing, load the standard VHS tape, and with a push of a little red button, you're ready to record pictures and sound.
Yeah, Joe, this is how you pick up sound if you want to hear the band marching or the baby crying, or as we hear quite often, get that camera out of my face. This is how you pick it up.
Ah, the Gold Coast of Australia. Surfer's paradise. Now, the difference between this beach and Virginia Beach, about 10,000 miles. I used VHS when I took my Great American Vacation 4 years ago. It may have been to Australia, but it was still my Great American Vacation. And I'm still satisfied with the quality of the video.
Joe, all video is a magnetic image. As long as you store them properly, keep them away from other magnetic fields, they should last a long time. One of the features I like on this VHS camera is the review function. What it does is it backs the tape up 5 seconds and allows you to review what you've just shot.
That really comes in handy when you need to make sure you don't tape over that last special event you recorded, or more importantly, that last special face you recorded, like Mr. Birthday Boy here. By the way, see the big window here? With all that backlight, there is a way to compensate. The VHS will automatically adjust by using the backlight button.
Camcorder is short for camera recorder. Slide this cover back, and you get your VCR play record functions. You have record, dub, rewind, play, fast forward, pause, and stop.
Byron left us with one final bit of advice.
The reason our award-winning photography staff is so good is because they're familiar with their equipment. And if I could recommend one thing to you, is that you read your manual, understand the functions, realize what your camera can do, and most of all, have fun.
Raphael Dawson came to 13 News after a 6-year stint as a Navy photographer. He says framing your shot is deciding where to place your subject within the boundaries of the frame. For example, you want to be careful not to cut off the top of your subject's head or leave too much headroom. Ah, the sounds of nature. Actually, the sounds of the barnyard at the Virginia Zoological Park in beautiful downtown Norfolk. That's where Julie Taylor was busy trying to capture some animal scenes. People love animal stories, and Julie loves animals. She's been a 13 News photographer for 2 years now. A graduate of Southwest Missouri State University, Julie is a Navy wife in her other life, her home life. Now, I was having a heck of a time getting to her, but I wanted Julie to talk to us about a camcorder known as the VHS-C. I knew VHS stood for Video Home System, but I wondered where they came up with a C in this model. Now, fortunately for my sake, Julie was ready, willing, and able to answer my questions, so we headed for the nearest bench. Oh, now keep in mind these terms as we talk to Julie. VHS-C, date and time labeling, flying erase head, viewfinder, white balancing, dubbing and editing, and automatic shutoff.
So, Julie, tell us where the C comes from in this VHS-C camera.
Well, Joe, the C is for compact. This is a much smaller camera than the standard size VHS. The tape size is considerably smaller, too.
Oh, okay. And then it's this tape that would fit inside your adapter like this, and then you just put this adapter with the tape inside it into your VHS unit at home.
Exactly.
That's how you'd show it to others. Julie showed me the date and time labeling available on these cameras. By setting them once, you'll know when your videos were shot. They appear on your screen for a period of time when you are recording. This is a function of most camcorders. A small battery powers the date and time feature and can last for nearly 2 years before you need to replace it.
Joe, this particular VHS-C comes with a flying erase head, which allows for glitch-free start and stops. Look at this video. You'll never notice it unless you're looking for it, but between each shot, there's no breakup, no distortion, no scrambling of the image. The flying erase head is the reason. Clean, crisp pictures time after time.
Julie told me she likes the convenience of the viewfinder on these VHS-C cameras. As you can see, they tilt up or down, allowing photographers some variety in their shooting angles. We also talked about white balancing. The color white is the color your camcorder uses as the foundation for all colors. And every time you are shooting, your camera either adjusts automatically to the color white, indoors or outdoors, daytime or nighttime, or you can do it manually on this VHS-C. Seen here, the camera is sensitive to indoor standard lights, indoor fluorescent, or outdoor sunlight. You select whichever applies. You make the call.
Joe, around the back side of the VHS-C is where you'll find the controls to play, fast forward, rewind, or eject tapes. All this can assist you in viewing your video either in the camera or by hooking it up to another source, like your TV. It will also help you in making copies of your tapes, better known as dubbing. When dubbing, these controls help you select the video and audio you'd like, better known as editing. Oh, and this VHS-C comes with an automatic shutoff, which allows you to save on battery power.
As the animals looked on, I knew I better let Julie get back to work in the barnyard. She left me with a shooting tip.
Joe, one more tip. When you shoot the barnyard animals, watch where you walk.
Ah, these photographers, you gotta love them. Duncan Wynn came to 13 News after a stint with NFL Films. He suggests exploring different camera heights and angles to see how they change the look of your shot. High-angle wide shots capture the entire scene, but you can achieve the same effect by bringing the camera down to the subject's level, and by doing so, incorporate more of the emotion and drama of the moment. Assistant Chief Photographer Mike Babcock has worked the trenches of 13 News since 1968, after completing an Army tour with Armed Forces Radio Television in Vietnam. Confident in any situation and steady as a surgeon, Mike has an eye for shot composition that is second to none. Some of the best photography you see each night comes from this man. Whatever it takes, Mike Babcock will do it to get the job done, and get the job done professionally. Now, I caught up with him at Virginia Beach Ambulatory Service taping an arthroscopic knee surgery. Mike was the one I wanted to tell us everything we always wanted to know about 8mm camcorders. They say timing is everything, and mine was a little off. But I knew if I promised Mike a Hollywood future in front of the camera, he would jump at my offer. Yeah, right. Keep these terms in mind as we pick Mike's brain about 8mm camcorders. Tape size, shooting position, shutter speed, auto fade, superimposing, focusing, and batteries.
Mike, really sorry, I know you're busy. I just wanted to interrupt and ask you about the 8mm camcorder. First of all, where does 8mm come from, the term?
8mm comes from the tape. The tape is 8mm in width, and it's a metal tape.
You can see the tape fits right in Mike's hand. It's that small. Loaded on the side of the camera, they still produce fine pictures. These shots were done on an 8mm camcorder. Not only are the shots clear and crisp, but the convenience of operating these small, lightweight cameras is another attraction. Which leads to our next point. Mike says the key to shooting with these little guys is using both hands and forming a sort of tripod with your body.
You're holding the camera here as point one, and then 1, 2, 3, it's like a three-legged table. It's nice and steady. You can't do that when you're trying to hold it with one hand. I can't do it, and I don't even try.
Last April, I did a Joe's job as a pit crew person. How would we ever capture fast-moving race cars on video? Well, Mike was able to using a feature on his professional camera that also comes on 8mm camcorders. It's known as a high-speed shutter. See how clear the cars are as they speed by? Now, on the 8mm, pressing the shutter speed button seen here sets your shutter speed to the desired rate, anywhere from 100 to 4,000. See the results? Sports action is a whole lot clearer. Here's an example when you shoot the same action using normal shutter speed. Not nearly as good. Oh, and see how this picture fades to black? That's another feature here. By pressing the fader button, you get the effect of fading to black while you're taping. You can also reverse the effect by pressing the button before you record, then start recording, and release the button.
When the fader comes up from black, then you've got a real smooth transition from scene to scene.
If you'd like to title or superimpose images, press this button. The end result looks like this and adds slickness to your pictures. Focusing can be automatic or manual.
If you're in a panic mode, you don't know if your camera's set right, you just flip it up on auto, and the camera will basically do everything by itself automatically.
Can an amateur try and get fancy? Would you advise they just go with auto all the time?
For the first couple of weeks, yeah, I'd advise just sticking with the auto. And then as you get confident with the camera. That's the whole thing. With these nice little cameras, they're all automatic, and it just takes a little bit of confidence to get used to them.
One final note, 8mm batteries look like this. You load them here and charge them on these 8mm chargers. Tony Church tells us, when shooting movement like sports or baby's first steps, position the camera in such a way that the action moves towards the camera rather than across the screen. This will help create a sense of depth and capture more of your subject's expression. Doug Cesney is another 13 News photographer that has wielded a camera here for over 20 years. A polished professional, Doug has covered local, national, and international stories working out of our Peninsula Bureau in Hampton. Whether it's an Operation Smile special in Africa or a special in Japan, Doug will put together some very compelling pictures every time. With all his experience, I thought Doug would be the one to ask about camcorder accessories.
Doug, we can get lost when it comes to equipment and accessories. How much should a person have?
Well, Joe, I think the KISS syndrome is very important. Keep it simple. Camera, battery, cassette, charger. What it's all about. That way you don't miss that magic moment. But if you want to play around, get in depth with some accessories, we got some to show you. Let's start with lights. Nights and indoors can be a real problem. This little light mounts on the camera, and it solves that problem. Makes your video look better, and it's relatively inexpensive.
Here's an example of how much better video can look using one of these extra lights. Some living room lights brighten your scene, but the additional camera light brings out the color and tone of faces and places. Our research found them priced anywhere from $90 to $110.
This auxiliary microphone is much better quality than the one mounted on top of your camera.
Now, I could have really used one of these on that trip I made to Australia. At the World Expo in Brisbane, I was trying to have some locals talk on camera, and the background noise was horrible.
What is that accent? Where's your whole family?
Melbourne, Victoria.
Oh.
And I can say Kookaburra. and bingo.
What a difference a handheld auxiliary mic would have made. You can pay anywhere from $19 to $79, and some stores carry wireless auxiliary microphones.
Joe, if you want to add music and narration to your video, you might want to consider purchasing one of these. Simply put, it's an editor. You can hook your camera and your VCR up to it, make your videos more sophisticated, and correct some of those mistakes.
Mistakes? Who makes mistakes? This same Australian video is unedited and has no narration or music. Imagine how nice it could look by editing and mixing onto another tape. Cost of an editor mixer can run from $99 all the way up to $449 loaded with options.
You might also consider purchasing more than one lens. Accessory lenses like these two. One is a wide angle, one is a telephoto. You can get closer or farther away from your subjects without moving the camera, all for under $100.
Investing in a camera case is always smart. My VHS case has been halfway around the world and really protects my camera. The VHS-C we showed you earlier fits snugly into another size hardback case. Doug also showed me this shoulder model that is lightweight, zips up, and gets the job done. These cases can range in price from $39 to $79, and some are free with the purchase of a camcorder. Last but not least, tripods assure steady shots and smooth pans and zooms. Some come with level bubbles and other options, but a basic $80 model will go a long way to improving your video. Shaky video caused by hand-holding the camera can be very distracting to the viewer. 13 News photographer Joran Hood says if a tripod is not available, brace yourself against a tree or a door frame to help you remain as steady as possible. Another trick is to shoot with the lens zoomed all the way out. The wider the lens, the less shaky the video. Camcorder technology is constantly changing, and we can't leave without a peek at some state-of-the-art equipment. We've tried to touch on a range of camcorders, and the wave of the future is an upgraded 8mm, high 8 they're calling it. Instead of 220 lines of resolution, there are nearly twice that, and consequently the video is clearer and crisper than ever. Check out the size of these high 8 handycams made by Sony. They record in stereo, weigh about 1.5 pounds, and they come with a new adapter that enables you to charge your battery and view your tapes at the same time. The remote switch for all this fits in the palm of your hand, and all you do is stand back and marvel at the quality of your video. Image stabilization is the key to this little model. Using a prism, one flip of the switch, and you're steady as a rock shooting video. It made me look so good, Joe's job could be a 13 News photographer. Not. Yes, there are 8mm VCRs that play these tapes. In fact, there are now some 3,000 movie titles on 8mm. This larger one does it all right on your lap. It's cable ready, plays and records, and would make a great babysitter on that next vacation with the kids in the car. The serious videophile, or prosumer as some call them, is all excited about this Canon L1, which performs and is priced at the high end of the scale. And speaking of the high end, you can spend a lot of money on sophisticated editors like this one, and toys like these sports housings that enable you to protect your camera on the beach or even underwater. And then there's the Video Sketch Titler. Using the stylus, you can select from a whole range of graphics and letters on the palette, actually place them onto the frames of your video, and voila! You've really jazzed up your pictures. So we hope you've enjoyed this look at camcording tonight. We talked to you longer, but got a wedding to shoot.